everyone, what is going on? My name is ButteredTV, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the whereabouts of update 200 for Payday 2 on PC. It's an update that's eluded us for quite a while now, and a lot of people have been asking where it is, what's been going on with it, because for the last 8 months, every update Payday 2 has had on PC has taken the form of update 199.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on and so forth. Which leads everyone to ask, well, where's update 200? Why are they not using update 200 in their changelogs? Is there a reason? What's going on? I'm personally of a very firm belief that something big is cooking for update 200, and that's why they refuse to use that number in the changelog. And so in today's video, I'm going to discuss my ideas about what update 200 could be, and maybe also when it might drop. But before we go any further, have you heard about a little known thing called ButteredTV's Discord server? Bet you thought that was going somewhere else, didn't you? Well, in case you didn't know, the channel has its own Discord server. It's been around for quite a long time, but only recently have I given it some proper attention, some love, and some character to make it a unique, professional, and fantastically loving server that we talk about all things Payday and beyond. There's a great deal of different channels there. You can assign yourself all different roles for your interests, the platforms you play on, and so much more than that. If you're interested in joining the server, getting a chance to talk to me, talk to everyone else on the channel, then feel free to hop in and join. The link is in the description and on screen now. There are loads of different things you can do, including a special role for patrons. So if you support me over on the Patreon page, which will be getting some more love very soon as well, you will get an exclusive patron role in the Discord, get access to a special patrons channel where you could talk to me directly. Hope you enjoy the server, hope you all check it out, but anyway, let's get on with the video. So before I rolled the intro, I hinted that it was a bit strange that Overkill hadn't been using update 200 in their changelog, and that every single update in 2020 had taken the form of update 199 point something. This began with the Christmas update in December 2019, which actually took the number 199, and then once San Martin came out, this trend began of update 199 Mark II, and so on and so forth, and we're currently at 199.5. Getting 200 updates deep in a game's lifecycle is no small task, and Payday 2, like any game that reaches that milestone, has done very well to reach that point. And of course, update 200 would not be the first big milestone for Payday 2 because we had update 100 in the middle of 2016, and I'd like to touch on that very briefly because that update was actually very important for Payday 2, as a video was published where Almir Listo, you all know him, global brand director of Starbreeze, the face of Payday almost, to be honest, at this point, and he discussed a bunch of different things going on with Payday 2 that were coming out or being announced as a result of this 100th update. We got the change to the skill system, where the entire skill system was completely reworked and made 10 times better. He gave a roadmap for Payday 2's development. He announced Starbreeze had full access to the Payday franchise now. They bought all the rights. They gave out free grenades, they overhauled the safes and drills system, they also then teased the biker heist at the end of the video. There's a lot of stuff, and it was only about a 5-minute video, but it was packed to the brim with announcements and different things happening for Payday 2, which was really exciting. It was like they were really celebrating this milestone update. And so that's why with update 200, I'm starting to have the same impression again, that they're planning on cooking something big up. And the difference this time is they've got less staff members. If you've been around on the channel, I don't need to discuss this over and over again, but very briefly, in my Payday 3 video that I did a few weeks ago, we learned that Overkill have assigned most of their developers now to work on Payday 3. More than half of their in-game dev team are now working on the next game in the franchise, and so there's not a lot of people left to work on Payday 2 on PC, consoles, and also Payday Crime War, which means that whatever they're working on is taking a bit longer, and that's probably why a lot of the Silk Road updates have 3 or 4 months in between each of them, because it is taking longer for them to develop this content. And so this is where I want to apply my first bit of logic to update 200, which is that they probably have a plan at this point. I imagine they do, and they're probably working on it, but the issue is it's going to take them a while to develop it because they haven't got a lot of staff. It's taking them longer to plan these things out and get a trajectory as to a release date, the features, all that stuff, which means they have to delay it and push it back a bit, which is why the most recent updates have just been using 199.2, 0.3, because they're not ready to make update 200 just yet. They're still working on it. And because update 200 is being held off on, it's got to be a big update, right? It makes sense. It makes logical sense that whatever's coming has got to stand out from the rest. And so there's got to be something more worthwhile in it than any of the Silk Road updates that they've released this year. Because otherwise, why would you wait to call the next one update 200 if update 199.3 was more exciting, you know what I mean? So it makes sense that whatever's coming in update 200 is worth the wait, and it's got something really meaty in it to keep Payday players excited and interested in the future of the game. But enough talking about the theory, let's talk about what update 200 might be. Now, I've actually sat through and thought about this myself for quite a while and tried to come up with some potential spitballs that could actually be logical. And I want to start off first with my most important one, because I really want to lead with the one I think is most likely and then talk about some other theories afterwards. My most likely theory for this is Infamy 3.0. I imagine any Payday 2 player that's played the game even a tiny bit is somewhat aware of the Infamy system, but if you don't happen to know, it's basically a prestige system, very similar to Call of Duty and other games of that ilk. You reach max level, you reset your level, and you go up and gain 100 levels again, and every time you do this, you gain an extra perk, be it a mask, an XP boost, whatever it might be. As it stands, you can only reach 25 levels of Infamy, and that's a milestone that a lot of players have achieved a very, very long time ago, to the point where people reset their progress, like I did on Xbox One, like a lot of YouTubers and streamers and other people have played. There are some people that have reset their progress 4, 5, 6 times just to keep things fresh. And that's because Infamy 2.0 came out in March of 2015, over 5 years ago. Now, while I would argue this was an issue for a good bit of Payday 2's lifecycle and they could have added more Infamy levels, by the time they'd reached the end of their main lifecycle in 2018, it was agreed that, you know, the end of Payday 2 has come, the story's over, no more new content, that's fine, don't add any more Infamy levels, it makes sense now. But then they've come back. Then they've done these Silk Road updates, I know mainly to generate funding for Payday 3, etc. But they do want to get a big fan base playing Payday 2 again. They want people enjoying the game again, and I can't blame them. And as far as I'm concerned, where I'm sat, if you want to give players more incentive to keep playing, adding more levels of Infamy would keep them hooked. It'd give you more to do, more of a reason to come back and keep playing and keep grinding. You get more rewards, whatever they might be. Just give people the ability to go Infamous again. You know, add another 25 levels of Infamy or another 75, take us to a max level of 50 or 100, or I don't know how easy it would be from a coding standpoint, but they could even make it unlimited Infamy. They could set it so you could go as high as you want, you just don't gain any actual rewards, but your rank can just keep going up. That'd be a really competitive thing to get people to just keep playing and see how high levels they can get. I know it would be a little bit broken because you can gain a lot of XP from Crime Spree and things like that, but with all that being said, you know, it'd still be nice to just be constantly gaining XP and feeling like you're achieving something still. I would love it if resetting your progress was not something you had to do just to play a bit more of the game, you know, just to feel like you're earning something again, just to feel like there's a reason to go back in and keep playing the heist. That's my big idea. But like I said, I had several ideas for Update 200 and Infamy 3.0 was only one of them. I've got a bunch of others that I want to talk about. A lot of them are ones that I don't think will happen, and I want to explain why, but there are also some that I think could possibly occur. So let's get into them. First off, I want to think a little bit about the skill system. Now, this one is a bit of a difficult one, but in Update 100, they did overhaul the skill system. They changed a lot of skills, they made a lot of things work better, more fluidly, allowed you to customize builds a lot better, you didn't have to pay for skills for one thing. That was a welcome change. And so it's probably not unfair to ask, would they change anything like that again for Update 200? And what I want to say immediately is, for me, I don't think they'll do that. I don't see them changing the skills now because they've got it good, and I don't really think they could change it. Maybe adding an extra skill somewhere or changing out a skill that's not very popular, but I don't even think there's any skills left in build systems now, at least the higher tier ones, that aren't at least somewhat useful. So I'm not really sure about that one. That's why I wanted to slide that in here and just say that, because I don't think skill changes will come. And again, on the same hand, I don't really see changes coming to the safes and drill system the way they did with Update 100, because at the end of the day, they've now changed it so you get a skin once a day, every 24 hours you can get a new skin for the game, and you don't even see the safes anymore. You just get given the skin in the loot screen. I don't really see what else they could add, bar maybe some new safes, you know, some new skins. That would be quite nice, or some free weapon colors you can earn as well, the same way they did with the holdout game mode. That would be quite nice. But in terms of overhauling the system, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. I don't think it's worth it. But something I was thinking a little bit about would be possibly the return of pro jobs. Now, this is an idea that I've had in the back of my head for a while now, and if you played Payday 2 for a while, you'll know that pro jobs were a system where you could play particular heists. It wasn't all of them, but some heists you could play, and if you beat them, you got extra rewards. But if you failed them, you would lose the contract. It'd be gone. There'd be no restarting. It was an extra little bit of a dare, you know, just get a little bit more cash in. While they weren't very effective and people didn't really play them, I think they could bring them back and make them more interesting. And of course, the Crime Spree game mode was added to try and compensate for that, to add this kind of system of gambling of if you fail the heist, you're out. But I don't really see why you couldn't have both. Those two features don't have to be mutually exclusive, and there are some people that don't play Crime Spree that might be more interested in pro jobs. Don't just have an extra 5% or 10% cash or whatever it was, because let's face it, it wasn't a great reward to play on pro jobs, but they could incentivize it a bit more and make you think, you know what, I actually want to give this pro job a go because there's actually some rewards here. Maybe even they could increase the difficulty a little bit, or, you know, increase enemies' health or whatever, and say, if you beat this without failing on this difficulty, you get this infamous mask. You know, some kind of challenge like that, something to give you a reason to actually play it and give it a go. It'd be a similar thing to the holdout game mode, because when that came out, no one really cared about it. Let's be completely honest, it was not a very popular game mode. People just kind of thought, oh cool, something new to play. I was the same, I thought it was an interesting thing, but it wasn't something that I thought was game-changing and made it very special. When they added their update to holdout earlier this year, they overhauled it a lot, gave you a lot more rewards for it, and gave you a reason to play it. And that was something that was very, very welcome for that game mode. I'm not sure how much of an effect it had in the long run, but at the same time, they still made the effort to make it more interesting, and for me personally, it's worked a little bit. I still don't play loads of Holdout, but I feel like I'm earning something more for playing it now than I would have done before the update came out. So yeah, I would like to see pro jobs return. That's just a little spitball I've got, but I'd like to see what you guys think. What kind of rewards would you like to see for pro jobs? Let me know down below. There's a couple of other ideas that I just want to shoot down that I don't think will happen. The first off is that Update 200 will be Crime Fest 2020. I'm seeing a few people saying this, and the more that time passes, the more I see it, the more I feel like I should probably just say, Crime Fest is not going to happen, okay? As far as I'm concerned, Crime Fest was the time where Overkill made free content for Payday 2 for everyone to play and enjoy, to celebrate the game's popularity, and, you know, just give players something a bit back they didn't have to pay for. At the end of the day, Payday 2's main life cycle is done. It was done at the end of 2018, and the only real reason they're back with Payday 2 is to make money, to fund Payday 3, and keep the company going. So it does not make logical sense with the lack of staff they have, and also they're still trying to get a lot of money, for them to just actually take 10 days out and go, you know what, here's loads of free content that we really can't afford to make, and we should be charging you for, but have it anyway. They can't do that. It's not logical. They could release it in October in the way Crime Fest might have originally occurred, but I don't think there'd be anything more than just a one-day update where they added this stuff, like, because they just can't afford to add loads of free things in the same way they used to. It's not a good business model for them right now. Finally, the last thing I want to shoot down is the fact that a new character might be coming in Update 200, and the reason I want to shoot that down is because Almir and Elizabeth from the Overkill team did a live stream after San Martin's Bank Heist came out. Almir said no changes would be coming to the safe house anytime soon for Payday 2. We all know at this point on Payday 2 on PC that the safe house is very poorly optimized. It doesn't run amazingly on a lot of really good PCs. It's the main reason it hasn't arrived on consoles, because it's so full of content that I don't think the platforms could even handle it. But what is the one kind of update that will always impact the safe house when it releases? A character update. Every time a new character comes out, the safe house evolves to make room for them. If they're not going to make any change to the safe house, they're not going to add a character. Not to mention hiring a voice actor is not very cheap either. But anyway, my final theory would be a roadmap containing details on future content. Personally, I'd love to see something like this happen for Payday 2 now, or for just Payday in general. A Payday roadmap would be fascinating to see. You know, what they're expecting to do for PC updates. You know, are they expecting 1-2 Silk Road updates to release for the rest of the year? How far away are they? How much space will be in between them? Is there any updates for consoles? I know they already said an update is no longer guaranteed on console, but, you know, they could possibly put something in there if anything's changed. Or even in the long run, I know not just yet, but maybe with Payday 3's development, they could say, ooh, in the middle of 2021, expect our first teaser trailer, you know, something like that. I would love to see a roadmap where they say, here are some of the things we're expecting to bring to Payday players in the next year or two. Here are some of the things you can expect to see. I think really, because they're trying to revitalize the Payday community and make things a bit more exciting and interesting for players coming back to the game, and also joining the game to begin with now, it would be great to see. It'd be great if they just went, here's a little taster of what's to come. Here's some things you might be able to expect, even if they don't go into detail. And so personally for me, Update 200, I think, will be Infamy 3.0. It's a very big system, and it will be one that I think will be very welcome to a lot of players. I would love to see some kind of mechanics come back, like the return of pro jobs, and I would also love to see some kind of roadmap for the future of the Payday franchise. Personally, I see this update releasing by the end of this year. I know that's not a very specific date. At the end of the day, I just don't know what's going on over there. It takes them 3 or 4 months to make a Silk Road update, and I don't know how long it's going to take them. I would love to see it release in October, where Crime Fest would have been, as I said earlier. But what I do believe is that if it takes longer than a year for them to make Update 200, it's going to get a little bit less exciting, because they've now been doing this delay thing for the entirety of this year, and there's only someone that can keep doing it before people start to go, okay, this is getting old now, where's Update 200, you know? So that's my thoughts. I think in the next couple of months we'll see the update release. Who knows, maybe it'll come out along the next batch of Silk Road content. That would be great. Get a Silk Road update and it be Update 200 to include whatever else makes it this big special update. That would be great, and if it does happen that way, then I'd expect it about 3 or 4 months after the Breakfast in Tijuana heist, which would pinpoint a release in about September or October. If there's more content in it, it's likely it'll be close to the 4-month mark, so that would line up with October, and therefore would line up also with my theory about releasing it where Crime Fest would have been. That would be a nice idea, and so I'm going to say October is the rough guideline, but I just don't know, so please do not hold me to that, because I could be wrong. But that sums up my video on Update 200, and now what I'd really like to know is what you think about everything I've just said about this update. What do you think might be coming in the update? When do you think it might release? What are you expecting? Do you agree, disagree with anything that I've said? Please leave all your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll be very interested to get talking to you about everything that I've said, and all your opinions as well. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's always so much appreciated. It shows me you like these videos and would like to see more. And if you happen to be new around here, feel free to hit that sub button, because it's quick, it's free, and I'll always love you for doing so. And if you do fancy supporting me a bit more than that, I'm not expecting anyone to, but if you'd like to go over to my Patreon check it out, maybe pledge a bit of support, feel free to do that too. A link's in the description and on the top right corner of the screen now. We've had a few more patrons recently join the channel, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. I'm adding more benefits right now, including weekly posts to let you know what's going on with me, with my content, what plans I've got coming up. There's also some teasers for my podcast I've got coming up very soon if you're interested in that too. But there we have it. I will see you next weekend with a brand new video. Until then, thanks for watching everyone. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.